In the clamoring city of Paris in the late 1900 years, a youthful clean lady named Maria Sklodowska showed up with a heart brimming with desire and a brain overflowing with interest. Still up in the air to seek after her examinations in material science and arithmetic, she enlisted at the lofty Sorbonne College, where she would later be known as Marie Curie. Much to her dismay, this way would lead her not exclusively to weighty logical revelations yet additionally to a significant organization with another splendid brain. Pierre Curie, a French physicist known for his work on gems and attraction, had devoted his life to science. He was captivated by the imaginative soul he saw in Marie, and their common energy for disclosure immediately bloomed into a profound individual and expert organization. In 1895, they wedded, consolidating their scholarly interests and setting up an unobtrusive research facility in Paris where they would direct trials that would impact the world. Marie's advantage in the as-of-late found peculiarity of radioactivity, a term she would later coin, started a progression of tests. She was especially interested by Henri Becquerel's work, which uncovered that uranium salts transmitted beams that could mist visual plates. With Pierre's steadfast help, Marie started a precise examination to uncover the idea of these strange beams. Constantly, they worked vigorously in their confined and ineffectively ventilated lab. Their hardware was simple, and the circumstances were unforgiving, however their common energy and assurance powered their diligence. Marie fastidiously estimated the power of the beams produced by different uranium compounds, finding that the outflow stayed consistent no matter what the compound's structure. This demonstrated that the radiation was a nuclear property. Energized by this disclosure, the Curies conjectured that different components could likewise display this property. They started testing various minerals, an errand that requested enormous tolerance and accuracy. Their diligent effort and devotion in the long run prompted the revelation of two new components: polonium, named out of appreciation for Marie's country, and radium, which displayed an uncommon degree of radioactivity. The disclosure of radium was especially critical. Its extreme radioactivity and the entrancing blue shine it transmitted enamored established researchers and the public the same. Be that as it may, the Curies were more keen on the logical ramifications of their discoveries. They comprehended that they had uncovered another condition of issue, one that produced energy from inside the actual iota. Confining radium was a stupendous undertaking. Marie and Pierre handled lots of pitchblende, a mineral wealthy in uranium, utilizing difficult and redundant compound methodology. Notwithstanding the actual cost it took on them, they stayed determined. Their work was meticulous and frequently deterring, yet their assurance won't ever falter. Following quite a while of steady exertion, they effectively segregated an unadulterated example of radium in 1902. Their momentous examination acquired them boundless praise. In 1903, Marie and Pierre, alongside Henri Becquerel, were granted the Nobel Prize in Physical Science for their joint examination on radiation peculiarities. This acknowledgement approved their work as well as laid out them as trailblazers in the arising field of radioactivity. While their revelations brought them popularity and honors, they additionally confronted critical difficulties and individual penances. The risks of delayed openness to radiation were not yet perceived, and both Marie and Pierre experienced medical problems because of their work. Pierre, specifically, experienced incessant episodes of weariness and agony. Sadly, in 1906, Pierre's life was stopped in a road mishap in Paris. His unexpected passing was a staggering disaster for Marie, both by and expertly. She lost her cherished spouse as well as her nearest teammate. Anguish-stricken, Marie tracked down comfort in her work, diverting her distress into additional examination. Marie assumed control over Pierre's showing position at the Sorbonne, turning into the primary lady to instruct at the college. She proceeded with their examination on radioactivity, pushing the limits of logical information. In 1911, she was granted her subsequent Nobel Prize, this time in science, for her disclosure of radium and polonium. She turned into the very first individual to win Nobel Prizes in two different logical fields. In spite of the difficulties and snags she confronted, Marie's commitments to science were tremendous. She laid out the radium establishment in Paris, which turned into a significant community for atomic physical science and science. Under her authority, the Foundation progressed research in radioactivity and its applications in medication, especially in the therapy of disease. Marie's devotion to science and her versatility notwithstanding difficulty roused endless others. Her inheritance stretched out past her own disclosures, as she prepared for people in the future of researchers, particularly ladies, to seek after their interests and break hindrances in established researchers. Her little girls, Irene and Eve, were profoundly affected by their folks' obligation to information and revelation. Irene, emulating her mom's example, turned into an eminent researcher and won a Nobel Prize in Science in 1935, offering the distinction to her significant other Frederick Joliot Curie for their work on fake radioactivity. Marie Curie's work reformed how we might interpret nuclear science as well as had significant reasonable ramifications. The utilization of radioactivity in clinical therapies, especially in radiotherapy for malignant growth, has saved endless lives. Her spearheading soul and persistent quest for information keep on moving researchers all over the planet. As we consider the existences of Marie and Pierre Curie, we are helped to remember the force of cooperation, steadiness, and the enduring mission for grasping the secrets of nature. Their excursion from a little, humble lab in Paris to the zenith of logical accomplishment is a demonstration of the extraordinary force of interest and commitment. Marie died in 1934, surrendering with the impacts of delayed radiation openness. Her life was set apart by exceptional achievements and enormous penances. She once expressed, "Nothing in life is to be dreaded, it is just to be perceived." This is the ideal opportunity to see more, with the goal that we might fear less. These words embody her way to deal with science and life, an intrepid quest for information to improve humankind. Marie and Pierre Curie's story is a brilliant illustration of what can be accomplished when enthusiasm meets determination, and how the mission for information can enlighten the world in manners we won't ever envision. Their revelations extended the outskirts of science as well as left a getting through tradition of trust, motivation, and progress. This story catches the embodiment of Marie and Pierre Curie's lives and their fantastic commitments to science.